So let's get into some news, Graham. This is we started talking about this on your show. So to refresh everybody, the new stimulus idea is out there, and oh boy, is it a doozy? Is it a doozy or what? I think at this point, the stimulus after this one will just be, I think they're going to let billionaires have one day to just purge whoever they want. I think that's what's going to be in the next stimulus. That's what's going to be. And if you fight back, you might live, but you'll have to pay a fine. They won't, but you will.
Right. Well, it's a fight back fine, which makes sense because a billionaire shouldn't have to, you know what I mean, pay to defend themselves.
Right.
Oh, when they should be allowed to just kill you, you know?
Exactly. So it's like, well, you get your life. If you can fight them off until midnight, you get to live. Bad news, that's $500. You can take out a payday loan if you're struggling. And you know what? If you live in Los Angeles, it gets even better because Mayor Garcetti might give you a $20 off coupon. Hey, you know, we encourage people. And if you're in the creative field, you get $40 off. If you drive an electric car, $50 off. Unless you're an asshole who takes up the charging station doing push-ups. That guy, $0 off.
That guy gets nothing. That guy deserves nothing.
But so the bill is ridiculous. I mean, let's talk about some of this stuff to give the summary again. Some of the stuff that actually is in it. A giveaway to corporations where they're not liable for anything, shielding them from any and all liability. They're rolling back labor laws because, you know, if the person handling your groceries is working a 14-hour shift, what's the problem? Who cares? Right. And rolling back parts of the Civil Rights Act.
This is, I just want the Vote Any Blue Will Do resistance crowd to know this is like Pelosi is okay with this.
This is nuts. I mean, and here's the thing, man, getting bigger picture beyond the Blue Any Do crowd, Any Blue Will Do crowd. Like, I think the first thing that needs to happen here is people need to stop putting on the facade that this is anywhere near the realm of acceptable. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even in this, like if we were at a sporting event and acceptable was the entire stadium, this is in the next town over, not even watching it on TV. That's how far from acceptable any of this is. And people need to 900, like, what is it? Like $900 billion or something like that. And they might include, this should be an Onion headline. There's $900 billion in stimulus. You might get a payment. Might. 900 billion. Where's that money going?
Well, it's funny. You make a sports analogy, right? And if a head coach was this bad in, like, just let's pick the NFL, he would be fired. He would be fired. Like, coaches that have won championships have a couple of losing seasons and they're fired. And yet in this country, we say lesser of two evils and we allow this to happen. And then when people like yourself or myself, you know, we're third-party voters, right? You voted third party. I voted third party. The last two presidential elections, I voted third party on a bunch of down ballot races. We're called crazy. And it's like, you wouldn't accept this anywhere else in your life. There's no, I mean, like, if again, sports fans would be screaming about their team if they kept doing this. Like, and it's amazing to me, you know, when you and I we basically on my show yesterday, we started just breaking down the bill. There's money for defense contractors. Yeah. So we don't get a direct payment. We should be getting $1,200 right now today. Those checks should have been going. Checks should have gone out Monday. Everybody's going to get them before the end of the year because everybody's starving. Christmas, rent's due in 2 weeks. Rent is due in 2 weeks. So everyone would be like, let's get those $1,200 out immediately. And here's a bunch of money in unemployment. And they can't even go back to the $600 unemployment that they put on top of it, which when they did that last summer, we might get a one-time that they're saying 6 or maybe 7. That's what they're dangling. Maybe $700.
and they're thinking that there might be some federal unemployment. I mean, here's what it's saying, like this, and here's the update from last night. This is comically ridiculous. Hill leaders eye new round of stimulus checks as part of $900 billion COVID relief deal. Let's just stop right there. $900 billion in relief. You, the citizen, might get a direct payment. This should be an Onion headline. Yeah. This is absolutely fuck nuts. You might $900 billion.
Where is the rest of that? I mean, it should be $900 billion. That's all going to the people, and in the forms of $1,200 checks, in the forms of unemployment and additional unemployment money, money that also is going to the states to help them with the unemployment, because the unemployment is through the state. It should be like, here's more money for small businesses to keep, especially in all these states now that have had to go back to more severe restrictions and lockdowns. It's like, okay, it should just be it's insane that that's not just automatic. We're shutting you down. Here's money to keep your business going. That should just be like the same sentence, but not in this dumb country. It's just like, we're shutting everything down. Thoughts and prayers. We might get you some money. And by the way, Congress needs to take another recess. Like, here's an ice cream coupon.
Well, like, look at it this way. And this is proof that, like, your government actively hates you. Like, what if I called you up one day, Graham, and I was like, Graham, dude, you're not going to believe this. I won the lottery. And you're like, no shit, buddy. Like, yeah, Graham, I won the lottery. I'm a millionaire now. I'm a millionaire. I freaking won. I won the lottery. And you know what, Graham? I want to make sure that I take care of all my friends. I want to give all my friends something. So you might get something here. You might get something. I might have $20 for you. Millions of dollars, might have $20 for you. That's what our government is doing right
Actually,
now.
no, Ron. I will add. Here's an even better analogy. You win the lottery. You win a bunch of money. Like, let's call it, you win $50 million, and let's say it's after you and I have all these road dates that I need to pay my bills. You don't now need the road dates anymore, and you go, Graham, now that I'm rich, I've canceled all of our road dates, and so I've taken away your ability to make money as a stand-up comic. But don't worry, I might give you $20. That's what they're doing.
Yes,
that's the equivalent of what they're doing.
That is, yeah, totally. And I make sure that every venue we would have played at is closed. I single-handedly close all their venues.
And you're like, no, man. And so I'm like, well, Ron, I'm just going to go on the road myself. No, that's not safe. So you're going to shut down these venues.
None of the venues are open, Graham, because I couldn't help them either. And sorry, I know they should have been kept afloat, and I have the resources to do it. But man, I don't know.
Sorry, bro.
I mean, the moral of the story, folks, is don't let me win the lottery. I'll turn into a piece of shit.
Ron is a monster. If the lottery winning Ron is a monster.
Power corrupts, man. Power corrupts. So here, look at this. This is so ridiculous. Congressional leaders after $1 billion, blah, 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 blah. So it's $900 billion. That's the price tag. Now here's what they're talking about. We might get, Senate Majority Whip John Thune told reporters that he thinks 600 to 700 is under discussion for stimulus checks, and double that for family and kids. Hey, if you got some kids, we'll give you a little more. We got you. Thune, a Republican from South Dakota. It's Republicans giving this news, by the way. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. Republicans are giving this news. He also added that he thinks there will be $300 for unemployment benefits per week. So we're getting half of the stimulus that we got the first time. We're getting half of that fuck you check, which, by the way, I think at this point, it's about $4 a day is what they've given the American people. And by the way, it's not them giving it to us. It's them holding up their end of the bargain. This is what the federal government is for. This is what this is why you're told you pay taxes every year.
We're giving you safe highways. It's like, no, we pay taxes. You make sure that shit runs on time. You make sure you're not giving me a highway. You're not giving me a post office. You're not giving me libraries. You're not giving me parks. I'm paying for it, and you're managing it.
Right.
So shut your fucking mouths. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, Oh, and so let's look at it. Let's go back on the history real quick. So when we got the $1,200 check in the spring, and it took some people months to finally get their unemployment. But once you finally got it, I didn't get mine till June. It was like you got this extra $600 a week. So if you were getting somewhere between $150, $200 a week, let's just call it 200, you were getting on top of that six. So now you're getting $800 a week. So that's $3,200 a month. Okay. All right. That's, you can, whatever you were making, that's okay. You can get by. That's, all right. Okay. But they take the $600 away in August. Then they give you back $300 for a couple of months. Take that away. Your regular unemployment's about to expire the day after Christmas. And now they might give you $300 again. And it's like that $3,200, I mean, depending on where you lived, I mean, that's California. That was, if I didn't have my YouTube show, I would have been scraping by. I mean, just scraping by. I mean, it would be like, and what it did is I would have been like, and I didn't go out to eat a lot the first couple months because money was tight. I was trying to get my YouTube up, and thankfully I'm doing all right. But like, I kept saying, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I was just a comic, like many of our friends.
Yeah.
I would be one of these comics who now is on the road. I see them on social media who's like, oh, I'm doing live shows. I'm traveling. I'm flying. It's like,
they don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. It's like the restaurants that we're telling to shut down that are like, what do you, and it's unbelievable. And especially when you talk about all these other countries, these democracies, these industrialized nations, where they gave their employees 80% salary.
Yeah.
Not because, that's what you should have been getting. And if you were unemployed, that you should send in your taxes and they'll give you whatever. Like, but or self-employed. If you're self-employed, whatever, figure that out. But it's like, this country said from day one, you're on your own, man. Good luck. Suck it. Thoughts and prayers.
Which, if they're going to tell us that, then our response should be, then why the fuck do we need you?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Like just get out. We don't need your corporate coup anymore. We never did. Just get out. Get out. It's unreal. And just articles like this are just so freaking insane because it's just like, I mean, listen to this quote. I feel more optimistic that there's been a lot of progress made, he said, adding, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to hit the deadline. Why? Because they want to go home. They want to go home for the winter holidays. So they're like, what is the smallest thing we could get away with? What is the least? Is that your ride, Graham? Do you have to go?
Well, we knew the day was coming, Ron, when they would come snatch me up because they didn't like what I was talking about. So this might be that day. I thought it was going to go live later tonight, but it sounds like 5-0 has other plans. So this might be my deep state sign off.
Well, you know what? We'll cover it in real time, so that's okay. We'll at least, we can at least, we'll at least know which direction they took you out of your apartment.
I'm just glad we're live streaming. I just hope it helps your subscriber count, Ron. Me getting hauled away to Gitmo, if that pumps your numbers up, I'm all in, buddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope you wouldn't hate me for it, but I'd have to make a clip of it later, with a lot of with a lot of exclamation points, like Graham Elwood gets hauled away! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! And then it's like the thumbnail will be great. It'll be you like holding a vegan smoothie, going, "What did I do?" And then it's like, there he goes.
Ron, if it's like one of your most watched videos, then I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like I get it. You're a content creator, like. And, we all got bills to pay. We all got bills to pay. So if I get arrested in real time on your live stream, by all means, and maybe there's 2 clips. Maybe it was me talking about it. Then the second, I don't know if you can make it a part 2, whatever helps.
You know what I'll do is I'll put part 2 under a paywall. That's what I'll do.
Yeah,
I'll be like to see the real unedited footage of it, and then they click it. And it's like, that's like $10. They're like, shit. Well, I invested this much. I gotta see the payoff now, and then that's
I love it.
Keep a lookout for that.
I think it's a great idea, Ron. I think it's a great idea.
Nailed it. So, folks, the update is we might be getting another one-time FU payment. This time, like 600, 700, maybe a little more if you got a family, and maybe 300. These are all maybes.
Maybe.
Stop pretending this is acceptable. Stop pretending. Stop reporting on the horse race of Republican Democrats. Stop pretending this government is any more than it is. It is a corporate coup. It is a shield for Wall Street. That's all it is. We need a complete overhaul. We need a people's legislature. We need a general strike. We need to put these people in a corner. We need to put elected officials in a corner where they have to do something good. That's the only, and it doesn't matter how you feel about anyone. It doesn't, if you're worried about AOC's feelings, stop. If you're worried about anyone else's feelings, stop. It's us versus them. It is us versus them. And if you're carrying water for them, you're fucking wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, this ridiculous allegiance to whomever, AOC, Bernie, I don't care whoever. Why? And defending the people in power. Oh, Ron, why are you saying this? And at least it's something. Why don't ever defend the people in power? Because the people in power don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about you. I mean, and if even the ones you think might, maybe they kind of do, maybe the squad feels like they do, they're still like, what are they voting for? What legislation are they supporting? That tells you everything. Doesn't care what they say in interviews. It doesn't matter what their Twitter feed says. It doesn't matter what cool video TikToks they make, if they go on Twitch or whatever. That means absolutely nothing. The greatest lesson I ever learned was when I first started really, I always kind of paid attention to politics, but when I really started digging in about 4 years ago, when I started my show, The Political Vigilante, and they were getting ready to confirm Mike Pompeo to be head of the CIA. And Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, and I was like, oh, she's a Democrat. I'll vote. I voted for her, whatever. And her Twitter feed was no torture, Mr. Pompeo. We won't take that. We won't tolerate that. This whole thing about Mike Pompeo was pro-torture, which is true, and she was against it. And Mr. Trump, we won't stand for that. And then I went to cabinetvotes.org, and she voted for Mike Pompeo. So that's all you need to know. And AOC and the squad and all of them, they voted for the CARES Act. It was a verbal vote. They deliberately did it so there's no record. They voted for this. So they are part of the problem. And you need to hold them accountable. And they're not your friend. You're not backstabbing a buddy or shit talking a family member. These are elected officials. As you said, Ro Khanna, you said this on my show yesterday. Ro Khanna said this on the Jimmy Dore show. If you're a member of Congress, you are part of the 1% of the 1%. So if you can't handle criticism from anybody, especially your own base, your own constituents, then this ain't the job for you.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle progressives calling you out because you're not being progressive enough like you said you were going to be, then pack it up and get out.
Well, and not just that, but also, they need to, if we want them to do good, they have to look outside and see us. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, their leverage is gone. So this whole idea of now's not the time and don't do this. And it's no, this is what we have to do. Even if they do have good intentions, if we're not out there, it's for nothing. The New Deal wouldn't have happened if FDR didn't look out and see a bunch of angry people.
Yes.
The Civil Rights Act wouldn't have happened if there wasn't a big movement forcing it to happen. That's how politics works in this freaking country.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's such a great point. And none of those things that you mentioned, women getting the right to vote, do you think that happened just out of the goodness of their heart? No. Women protested. Women went on strike. Women said no. Like you talked about, all of the labor strikes. Why did the Vietnam War end? Because there was protests every day in front of every Capitol building, on campuses, in front of the White House, every day in front of the Capitol building, every day. It was nonstop. You couldn't get away from a conversation about Vietnam. And everybody was like, are you for it, against it? You had to take a stand. You had to stand for it. You had to do this. Muhammad Ali gave up his championship belt because he's like, I ain't going to Vietnam. No Viet Cong ever called me the N-word. He said that. He said, I'm out. It was every day. It wasn't one little tweet and hey, don't be mean. It was like, that's what it's going to take. And if people don't wake up to that fact, then I'm sorry, man. Now that the restaurants are closed again, you can't have brunch. So maybe it's time to get out and wake up because nothing is changing.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your